Dear students, in our previous video, we see about the magnetic materials. So on that, we seen about the classification of the magnetic materials and applications of the magnetic materials and some terminology associated with the magnetic materials and a normal definition of the magnetic materials. So our next topic is magnetically induced EMF and force. That means here we can derive the some equations regarding the EMF and force. So first we want to see about the EMF equations. EMF equations in terms of magnetical terminology. So according to Faraday's law, E is equal to minus n into d phi by dt. Normally, our Faraday states two laws: Faraday's law first law and Faraday's second law. So Faraday's first law states that when a moving conductor placed between the magnetic field, an EMF will be induced in it, and the EMF can be represented as E is equal to BLV, and the direction of that EMF can be decided by the Fleming's right hand rule. And similarly, Faraday's second law also gives the equation for the induced EMF. So what is that second law means? When a flux linking in the coil changes, an EMF will be induced in it. And the formula for that EMF is E is equal to minus d phi by dt. Here the negative sign indicates the EMF, induced EMF is exactly opposite to the flux. That means to satisfy the Lenz law. So in the Faraday's first law, the direction of the EMF can be decided by the Fleming's right hand rule, and the Faraday's second law, the direction of the EMF can be decided by the Lenz law. So according to Faraday's law of induction, E is equal to minus n into d phi by dt, where n is the number of turns and phi is the flux and t is the time. So this equation can be we can written as minus d lambda by dt also. Why? Because we know that lambda is the flux linkage and the flux linkage formula is n into phi. These are all formulas we already see in our intermediate courses. So E is equal to n into d phi by dt, and if you remove if you won't consider the direction, then E is equal to n into d phi by dt, that equal to d lambda by dt. So this is the EMF equation in terms of the statically induced EMF, which gives the Faraday's second law, and the dynamically induced EMF is E is equal to V and B cross products into L. V and B cross products into L. So if you know that the cross product of the anything A cross B is equal to AB sine of the angle between those two. So we can write as E is equal to V cross into B cross into L, that equal to BLV sine theta. Normally the angle between the B and V as theta is equal to 90 degrees. Then if you substitute that 90 degrees, sine 90 is equal to 1, then the equation is E is equal to BLV. And however the direction of the this EMF can be decided by the Fleming's right hand rule. So according to Fleming's right hand rule, we can stretch the three fingers, forefinger and middle finger and thumb of a right hand stretched perpendicular to each other like this. So here the forefinger indicates the magnetic field direction and the thumb represents the motion of the conductor, and the middle finger represents the current direction. So by using these three directions, we can decide the EMF direction, induced EMF direction. So in addition to this, we can represent our voltages. We can represent our voltages in terms of the inductances also. Normally these inductances are self-inductance and mutual inductance. So if we want to write the equation in terms of the inductor. So from the same Faraday's law of the mutual induction, our E is equal to n into d phi by dt. Here I write n into d phi by di into di by dt. So we already know that the formula for the inductance is equal to n phi by I, number of turns into flux divided by current in that conductor. So n into d phi by dt we replaced as L into di by dt. So where L is equal to n into d phi by dt, and if the number of turns also varied, then d is equal to d of n phi by di, and we already know that lambda is the flux linkages that can be represented with n into phi. So we can get our L is equal to lambda by I, lambda by I, And however, the same inductance can be represented with the other formulas also. Those other formulas are nothing but L is equal to n square into Va by HL, that equal to n square into mu A by L and n square by R, like that. So how we get this equation means from this equation n phi by di, and phi is the mmf by reluctance, and m means n into I, number of turns into current. So n into ni is equal to n square I, and similarly reluctance means L by mu square mu A. So if you substitute all those one, we can get n square into mu A by L. However, these also we can get in our previous classes, that means intermediate classes. So these are the formulas for the L, that means inductance, self-inductance. So however, the same inductances, not only in the self-inductances, we can represent the mutual inductances also. So what is the mutual inductance means? The effect of the other coil on the same coil is called the mutual inductance. That means that mutual inductance can be represented with two ways. M12 mutual inductance of the first coil because of the second coil, and M21 mutual inductance of the second coil because of the first coil. So the formulas for the M12 and M2R is the lambda 12 by I2 and lambda 21 by I1. That means where lambda 12 and lambda 21 are the flux linkages. Normally this lambda 12 and lambda 21 are almost equal. Why? Because flux linkage of the one coil from the another coil is same as the flux linkage of the another coil on the same coil is same. So normally our M12 and M21 also same. So the M value can be represented as root L1 into L2, and sometimes in general the M can be represented as some K into root of L1 L2, where K is called as the coupling factor, and L1 is the self inductance of the first coil, and L2 is the self inductance of the second coil. Normally the K value will be lies between the nearly equal to 1. Most of the cases the value will be unity. And next we can represent our, up to now we see about the self inductance and mutual inductance, and but normally our intention is we want to represent our voltages in terms of the inductances. So for that we have the two types of EMFs. What are the two types of EMFs? Dynamically induced EMF and statically induced EMF. Dynamically induced EMF means from the Faraday's first law, and statically induced EMF means from the Faraday's second law. So the dynamically induced EMF is what? Both are variable. And statically induced EMF is nothing but E is equal to N into by d pi by dt. So if the static magnetic configuration of the L will be fixed with the time, then the equation for the E is N into d phi by dt, and we can represent the d phi by dt as d phi by di into di by dt. So N into d phi by di can be represented as L. So our EMF can be represented in the form of L as L into di by dt. And similarly, if for the rotating devices both L and I are varied, so lambda is equal to Li. So normally we have the formula for E is equal to d lambda by dt. So we can differentiate both L and I. At that case, the induced EMF can be given as E is equal to L into di by dt plus I into dl by dt. So here the L into di by dt is called as statically induced EMF, and I into dl by dt is called as dynamically induced EMF. And next one is the force equation. So we already know that the force also is a vector representation, and that can be represented as I into dl, I into L into B, BIL normally. And here the L and B are two vectors. So we can represent our force in the form of a vector as I into dl bar cross B bar. So here also we have the cross product. We all know that the cross product of A and B is AB sin theta. So we can represent dl bar cross B as dl into B into sine of the angle between the dl and B. So that can be represented as the total force can be obtained as F is equal to I into L cross B cross, that equal to BIL sin theta AF bar. Normally the distance and flux density both are exactly 90 degrees to each other. So the sin theta is equal to 90 degrees. So we can write our force as F is equal to BIL newtons. So this is the representation of the magnetically induced EMF and force. However, the EMF can be represented in the case of the AC operation also. So if we give the AC flux, That means time varying flux. What is the EMF equation formula? So AC operation of the magnetic circuits. So by applying the AC supply, the flux produced also variable, and that flux can be given as phi is equal to phi maximum into sin omega t. So we already know that the EMF equation formula E is equal to n into d phi by dt. So here the phi is the phi maximum into sin omega t. So derivative of the phi maximum into sin omega t is omega into cos omega t. So finally we get the formula for E is omega into n into phi maximum into cos omega t. Why? Because we can write as the dt also. Here we can derivate with respect to time. So there is no dt term in the denominator. So if you consider the RMS value, E is equal to what? If you substitute the omega is equal to 2 pi f, 2 pi f, and if you consider the RMS value, 2 pi by root 2 into f into n into phi maximum. So the value of the 2 pi by root 2 we can written as 4.44. So we get the EMF equation is equal to 4.44 into n into f into phi maximum. However, this can also be written as f into n into AC into B. Why? Because the flux phi is equal to, we know that the flux density into area. Flux density into area. That's why we can represent as B maximum into AC. So in addition to the AC operation of the magnetic circuits, next we go for the hysteresis and eddy current losses. Hysteresis and eddy current losses. So normally first one is hysteresis losses. So what is the hysteresis losses means? These are the losses obtained in the magnetic material because of the magnetic reversals of the dipoles. Magnetic reversals of the dipoles, and later we will discuss about later we discuss about these two concepts briefly. So first, now just I want to express in terms of their common empirical formulas only. So the hysteresis losses, the energy stored in the field per unit volume can be represented as, we can consider the from this point to this point, increasing point. What is the energy means? Integral of minus bf, that means flux density at f point to maximum flux density, that means flux density at point B, is equal to, what is the area covered by the O, F, A, B, G, again O. This area gives the energy stored in the field per unit volume. And similarly, when the H is reduced to 0, this is the H value, x-axis. When the H value is reduced to 0, what happens? We can get the energy stored in the field per unit is only this area, that is BGC area. So we can write in the form of a formula, the energy reduced to 0, then the value is integral of this point BB is equal to B maximum to BC. So the area is area covered by the CBG, this area. So the formula, empirical formula for the hysteresis losses is pH is equal to KH into F into Bm to the power of N Webers per meter cube. This is the empirical formula, and we can see briefly, we will see briefly in our future classes. No need to worry. And next, eddy current losses. So the eddy current losses also, these are the, because of the laminations stacking, we will get this type of losses, and these losses also we will see briefly in our future classes. So now I want to discuss about the only one simple empirical formula of the eddy current losses. So the empirical formula for the eddy current losses are PE is equal to K suffix E into F square into Bm square into Weber per meter cube. So where Ke is the Ke dash into d square by rho. Here the d is the thickness of the lamination and rho is the resistivity of the material. So here, by observing these two equations, that means hysteresis losses equations and eddy current losses equations, the hysteresis losses are directly proportional to the frequency of the material, and the eddy current losses are directly proportional to the square of the frequency of the material. So these two are empirical formulas, and the brief discussion definitely we will see in our previous classes. So next one is the permanent magnets. So what is permanent magnets? The permanent magnet is an important excitation source commonly employed for imparting energy to magnetic circuits used in the rotating machines. So this is the one type of the magnetic material which exhibits the magnetism permanently and which can be used for providing the magnetic field in so many applications. So normally these permanent magnets are classified into three types: alnicos and ceramics and rare earth materials. Alnicos, ceramic materials, and rare earth materials. So, in this topic, we will see about what is the brief discussion of that material, permanent magnet materials, and what is the use of the different types of permanent magnet materials. So, first one is ceramic magnets. Normally, alnico magnets are used to the motors up to 200 kilowatts, and the ceramic magnets are most economical for fraction of kilowatt motors. So, the major use of the magnets are used by the alnico magnets only. So, the advantages of the permanent magnets are the magnets are classified into three types of magnets: alnico magnets, ceramic magnets, and rare earth magnets. The alnico magnets are used for the 200 kilowatts, and the ceramic magnets are used for the economical in the fraction of kilowatts motors. And the rare earth materials are very costly, but they are most economic choice in very small motors. In case of small motors, we can use these rare earth materials. And alnicos I already told, up to the 200 kilowatts it can be used. And now the latest version of the permanent magnet is the neodymium iron boron materials. And coming to the applications of the permanent magnet materials, the permanent magnet materials have the greater applications in many small devices such as loudspeakers and AC and DC motors, microphones, analog electrical meters, etc. So we will see in the next slide. Applications of the permanent magnet materials. The permanent magnets have the greater applications in many small devices such as loudspeakers, AC and DC motors, microphones, analog electrical meters, driving radio antennas, etc. And the following table gives the detailed information about the three types of the permanent magnets. Three types of the permanent magnets. What are the three types of the permanent magnets? Ceramic permanent magnets, metallic permanent magnets, rare earth permanent magnets. So on those, the metallic permanent magnets, the alnico magnets is there, and the magnetic flux density developed by that material is 1.25. So when coming to these, all of these permeability also high, and when coming to the all of these materials, the metallic permanent magnets on those alnico magnetic materials are very useful permanent magnets. So with this, we completed the first half of our first unit. So in the next video, we will see about the principles of the electromechanical energy conversion. Thank you.